Okay, starting work on this, on the house, on the building here. So I've come into here and I'm going to start by making some constraints. Let me save this first. So ABD constraints from rules. Okay, first into there, and then the last port proxy geometry there. I'm going to change the max search points to 2, so we don't need so many points. There we go. So many constraints. There's quite a lot. Okay, and then we need some properties. So ABD constraint properties. Again, you could, if you wanted, use the previous setup for having, separate constraints for the glass and the wood and so forth. But I'm not going to do that here. The scene's already fairly complex, so keep it as simple as possible. So I'm going to push this up to 50,000. That's what I found worked. And then I'm going to drop in ABD configure. So what I'd like is to have this building kind of on the edge of the fracture and just have the front part fall in. So, the easiest way to do that would be to create a group for the back and make that inactive. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Right, so I'm going to create a sphere to make that group. Going to make it much bigger. Polygon, and give it some frequency. We don't need too much here because it's just making a group. We're not doing like a boolean or anything. Drop a mountain here. And I'm going to do 20 by 15. Just a little bit more of an interesting shape. Okay, and then drop a transform to get it on top of the house. So if we do that, and then just template the house, and just kind of move it back to there. So we're just grabbing the back of it. Okay, and then I think I'm going to scale it in Y as well. There we go. Just to get more of a straight line there, basically. Okay, so then I can plug this in here. And we can visualize, well, we need to set that, that active attribute first. So active will be, we'll set that to 0, use bounds, bounding geometry, and then active. There we go. So at the back that's inactive, front is active there. Okay, but we still have constraints coming between, the two then. I'm just going to delete them to allow this front piece just to fall off, right? So I'm going to take this, so take this geometry here, do a VDB from polygons, and set this to 1. We don't need a lot of resolution. VDB reshape to expand it, dilate it a little bit, and then group the constraints. So group here the constraints like that. So this will have to be points. Same again, delete me, and it will be, well, you can, well, I turn that off, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so there we're grabbing the points, and then we're going to promote that group. So group promote, so that it selects kind of, the whole primitive. So from points to primitives, and it's delete me, and then we actually delete it. Oop, didn't grab it. There we go. Okay, so the how this value will control how much of the constraints that you delete. You see that it'll expand there. Okay, so I'm going to set that. I'm just going to leave it at 1, and that's pretty much it. It's a simple setup here. What we will need actually is to pack this up to position it. All right, so grab that, and then the constraints and the proxy geometry. Just going to grab a transform. Okay, and then we'll have to visualize our terrain. and go into the camera, and maybe I'll just head forward like that. And then maybe set this to ghost other objects, jump inside here, and we can set the position of this. Okay, so I'm gonna rotate this -34 and then bring it kind of overlapping this piece here, right? So I'm gonna bring it over 10 this way, just a bit that way, right? So you can see that we'll just get that chunk at the front falling off the edge of the cliff there. Okay, and then I'm going to object merge in that collider. Not that, object merge. So let's go ahead and find that collider. So in the terrain, out, let's see, proxy sim, I think is what we want. There we go. And then we can just hide that. What I'm going to do is go back to the first frame, and I'm just going to select the pieces which are kind of around the building, right? Because we don't need, it's not going to collide with any of these. So I'm just going to make a selection like that. Maybe just kind of round the building and isolate these pieces. Okay, so yeah, we shouldn't get, especially from the camera, we don't see these pieces, and the building should just go straight down here, right? So that can go into our collision geometry, and this we need to unpack, so RBD unpack. Just, whoops, like that. So also, I want to see when this part, let's make sure we're visualizing this, falls down. So I don't want to start the simulation on the first frame, right? So I'm going to just creep forward and tell the pieces underneath the building here, I just want it to be static. Maybe somewhere around here. So on frame 40 we'll start, and then frame 50 you can see, so over the 10 frames it's starting to go down there. We'll get some nice collisions with the rocks below. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do that. So start frame 40. So we'll just cache from frame 40 to frame 200. Okay, let me just bring this scale down a bit here. And the same on the bullet object, the collision padding. And let's just double check that the collisions will be animated as well. Let's see, if we just go to the first frame and then just skip forward one frame. Okay. Bit hard to see that, I don't know why it's flashing. Maybe if we dive inside. There we go. Okay, so we got the it looks like it's moving for us. Okay, so let's set up a cache for this. So RBD IO. Okay, geometry and the points as per usual. So this will be frame 40 to frame 200, right? So I'll save this in the sim, and we'll be in the terrain, and it'll be a new folder, and we'll call this house. And this will be house $f3.pgeo. Okay, and we want the same thing for the rest, but obviously not frame range. Just call this rest. Okay, let's just I'll just sim a couple of frames just to make sure constraints are breaking and such. Actually, let me escape that and save this. Go back. Yeah, I'll just play a couple of frames Okay, just press escape on that. We can see we got some stuff going on. Starting to fracture, we got a nice crack along, you know, where it's inactive, and starting to fracture at the bottom here, you know, from collisions. So yeah, go back to frame 40. Make sure I can't remember if I saved that before. And then let's save out the sequence.